Hey y'all, are we live now? I always have a problem trying to go live on Instagram. Oh, I think we can do it. Oh, I think we're here. Hey y'all, let me know. It is Wine or Wings Wednesday, and it's your girl. I never know why I cannot get this popping where I see my comments. So because I cannot see my comments, I literally have to go in
My
and
comments. So
oh no
because
no
I
no no no.
cannot see my comments,
See,
I
then I have to
literally
mute because I want to watch myself on here. Only because I want to see y'all comments over here. So and then of course I can't see it on Instagram. Am I live on Instagram? It says that I'm live on Instagram. Ooh. Ooh. Anyway, hey y'all, it's your girl. Oh, but they see me somewhere. And it's Wings or Wine Wednesday. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't have wings or do I have wine right now because I didn't thaw out my wings in time. And also I am live, but I want to see y'all comments. I didn't thaw my wings out in time. That's number one. And number two, I am still dealing with that is why I can't see my comments because I'm trying to see my own live. Yeah, it's a hot mess up in these streets. um I came in here because there are some things that I want to chat about. Your girl just finished the podcast. Shout out to King Jasar for the PTHD podcast that I was just on. And that was great. So I wanted to come in here and talk about some of the points that we discussed as I get my notes. I want to talk about some of the stuff that we discussed on that podcast, as well as some of the things that I have heard on another podcast that was happening yesterday. And I'm looking for my notes. Oh, here we go. I found my notes. I found my notes because I wrote these down specifically for you guys because I need to hear what you guys have to say about certain things. Houston was amazing, which is why that's what I was getting to. I do not have wine tonight. I have tea. Don't confuse me having tea right now with Tips Tea Thursday because that is not it. Tips Tea Thursday is tomorrow. So come get Tips Tea with your girl. I'm probably still gonna have some tea, but who knows? It might be spiked tea, special tea, good tea. It don't matter. But tonight it's just Lipton tea. All right, trying to get my voice back because again, Houston was great, but Houston weather, mm-mm. Houston weather was crazy, and I spoke in Houston, so trying to preserve. I don't know how the sing. Not I don't know how because I think I've seen the singers they me they have to have their tea all. Anyway, let's jump into this. I was on a podcast earlier, and this really is geared towards my men because the podcasts that I have been on and have listened to lately have been male podcasts. Today, I was a guest on the PTHD, which is post traumatic hood disorder. Check it out. I have posted it. Check it out on YouTube, Instagram, all of everywhere where you can find me. I posted it there. And yesterday I watched the Research podcast, and those were some guys' podcasts, and they had some stuff to say. First thing I want to touch on right now is King and Queen. Now, if y'all know me, you know your girl has issues with oversaturated words, words that are just used here and there, all willy nilly. And King and Queen was one of them that came up in the podcast today that we were on. And it was more about him asking, how do people, men and women, expect to be called king and queen. And let me get his words. He said, how do men and women expect to be treated like kings and queens or called kings and queens if they are acting like peasants? That's what he asked me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what he asked. I personally, and go back to the show, and you'll see, I don't like the word king nor queen when it is used in a relationship. And again, for that reason, because some of you guys are heathens. You're heathens, all right? And it starts when you're young. It starts your mama going around there calling them your little prince, your little king, your prince and your princess, and you're just a heathen. You're heathen. People do not understand the root, the description, and what some of these words mean that they are just throwing out. So you can't live up to something if you don't really understand what the description is or what it means to be that. If you give yourself the own description of what a king is and what a queen is, you're going to label yourself that. And that's what it is. Whether you act like a peasant, you act like the house slave, or whatever it is, so King Jassard said that he believed that king and queen is a mentality. So if you believe that you are a king, then it is okay to be called a king. And if you believe that you are a queen, it's okay to be. I understood that. I understood exactly what he meant, because again, he broke that down and expounded on it. But the question is it was more geared towards these women and men that are walking around here calling themselves kings, calling themselves queens, calling their spouses kings, calling their spouses queens, and they're acting like heathens. But again, if you give yourself a description to something, you're going to follow that and you're going to believe that yourself, right? So type in the comments, type in the chat. Let me know what it means to you to be called king or queen. Again, you see it in relationships, you see it in family, you see it in just men or women in general. You're at the grocery store, you say, hey, king, or you're in a department store or in a mall and you say, let me get that for you, queen. Yeah, but what does that really mean to you? Type in the comments, type in the chat, and let your girl know, because that was definitely one of the things that we discussed that was a little lengthy, because you do have to ask yourself. Excuse me. So all right, going back to it before we move on to the second thing that I was discussing. He was saying that it's about the movement. The castle is the goal in the relationship. So when you're a king and the queen, the goal, and it should be, the castle and the movement and the wherever you're going. I feel that. I feel that. So it's about growth. It's about what you're building. It's about the castle. Now, for me, this is what I challenged, because if we're going to go with true definitions of what king and queen is, what a king and a queen is, if you look it up, it has more to do with inheritance. It has to do with the kingdom. It has to do with being a ruler and all of that. So it could definitely be metaphorical. That's the word I was looking for. Definitely could be and it could definitely be an attitude. It can. What does it mean to you? When you're calling someone king or queen, what does it mean to you? That was one of the things that we discussed. That was a good one. The second thing that I wanted to bring up, which was so great. Hey, Chris. Chris, look at you. You just be popping in because I just got off of a topic of what king and queen means to someone else. And I know, thank you, Chris. And I know that you might have just a little bit to talk about that. Since you just got in here, I'm gonna just run it back real quick because we were about to move on. but we were discussing about the titles king and queen, what it means to you when someone calls someone a king, when someone calls someone a queen. Because the question was, I just did a podcast earlier, it's up on YouTube, and he said, why do you believe that men and women call themselves king and queens? And no, that was his question. He said, why do men and women expect to be treated like kings and queens when they act like peasants? I had to run that one back because it just clicked. That was his exact words. He said, why do men and women expect to be treated and called kings and queens when they act like peasants? Go ahead, Chris. Give it to me. While you go ahead and answer that question and chime in with everybody else on that one, I'm going to go ahead and ask another question here because there were so many topics that my guys were bringing up between yesterday and today. You men, listen, my men are stepping up. My men are telling the women what is happening, what needs to happen, what could happen, what's working and what's not working. And I'm going to be honest, my girls are listening. You guys act like y'all not listening, but you guys are listening. And I know that they're listening because they've told me, fellas, please don't give up on my ladies. My ladies are a mess. I know. We working on it. We are. Work with your girl. Kenya's keepsake. But listen, I create a safe space for everybody to come in here and have that understanding because we're going to get it together, y'all. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. All right, Chris said he isn't wrong. But even when our people act a fool, I like to speak life to people. Eventually, they may start acting like kings and queens. Okay, some people need hope and life spoken into them. Listen, I'm with you, Chris. So what I hear you saying is that saying king and queen is speaking life to someone. Everyone don't see the royalty in themselves. Okay, all right. So when you throw out the king and the queen, it's uplifting, it's empowerment, it's you showing the royalty to somebody else. And then what Chris is saying is even if they are acting like peasants, there is a king and queen inside of everyone. And someone just needs to bring it out. That's what I hear Chris saying. It's better than calling them niggas and hoe. Hey, that is true. That is true. Even if they act like. Mm-hmm. It's better to call them king and queen. Because you want to call them what you want them to step into. Not what they are. What they are. Speaking life into them. That's what Chris is saying. Speak life into them. Okay, that's good. That's good. That is good. That is the answer. So the answer again, what I hear Chris saying, what I love and what I'm pulling out of it, what my keepsake is that I pulled out of it, is that listen, no matter how they are acting, a fool, a peasant, a hickabee, I don't know. Speak life into them because someone has to. Somebody has to speak life into them. And why not it be you? Why not? All right, let's go. And again, y'all, not to be confused with Tips Tea Thursday. That is tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. PST. Today is just because your girl had time. I've been doing podcast shows all day today. So why not come in here and talk to my own people about some things? Wine or Wing Wednesday? I don't have either one of them. My wings did not thaw out in time because your girl was busy. And the wine, it's just tea today. It's tea because I'm trying to get my voice back. But we're still winding down on this Wednesday. Thank you, Chris. Now, let's move on to something else. I tuned in to another male podcast yesterday, and I need all my men chime in with me. Comment, let me know what's going on because I chimed in on their podcast yesterday. It was called The Resurge, and they had some stuff to say. Now I'm gonna go ahead because I wrote them down in my notes because I wanted to bring them back to my people so that we can see. But the reason why I'm doing it today is because I don't want to get thrown off on what I got to talk to y'all about tomorrow for Tips Tea Thursday. That's a whole nother show. Ooh, I'm not gonna give it to y'all. I'm not gonna give it to y'all. But let me go right here with this quote real quick. I'm gonna go with this first one. I'm gonna just jump in. They were talking about polygamy. He said, follow me, and I need my men to chime in. He said, the cure for polygamy is a lot of monogamous sex. What'd he say? What'd he say? He said, the cure for polygamy is a lot of monogamous sex. What y'all think about that? Okay, listen. Now, polygamy has been around forever. Started out as a cultural thing. I think when it got to America, they tried to bring it in as a good idea. I don't know if it was for purposes of reasons for being able to step outside or whatever the case may be. I haven't heard so much about polygamy until now than I've ever had back in the culture in Africa. Okay. So everybody, polygamy is a thing. It's a thing that's being brought up. Do people really want? Come on now. Now I said this. This is when I chimed in on the podcast yesterday. I said, let me bring it in. Hold on, let me bring it in. I said, fellas, do y'all really want more than one wife? Come on. Like, do y'all really want more than one wife? This goes to, I'm about to do a movie review right after I get off with y'all. That's what I was about to do today. But I said, let me come on here and talk to my peoples. But I'm doing a movie review on a movie called 3. Anyway, fellas, let me bring it in. Do y'all really want more than one wife? Can y'all handle all of those emotions, those personalities? You will be responsible for all. Let me move this because I don't even know if it's echoing or it's making me louder. You will be responsible for all of those emotions, those feelings, those attitudes. Y'all already complain. Oh, okay. I'm still trying to get how this look. Oh, that look a little better. Y'all already complain about that time of the month. That's another decision. I mean, that's another topic we ain't gonna talk about because I got something to say about that. Y'all stop doing it. Y'all stop blaming everything on that time of the month. Ain't even like that, but it is a thing, fellas. All of y'all that are questioning polygamy, yeah, can y'all handle that? I just want to know. Chris said that's a lot of emotions to juggle. I know. Kings out here talking 50-50. They ain't ready for two. Chris, say it again, Chris. Say it again. Chris said, and he used the word kings because he's uplifting you. He didn't want to use the word in word. He's uplifting you. He said kings out here talking 50-50. They ain't ready for three women. They ain't ready. You can't 10%. You can't 10, 25, 70, 30. You can't. Is my mic too loud? Because y'all got me hyped on this. Because Chris, that was a good one. No, y'all don't want it. But I'm sorry, going back, because Chris said he can't call it. Going back to the original statement on what brought this up, is the cure for polygamy a lot of monogamous sex? Because what this is saying, if y'all know about El Chulo. If y'all don't know about El Chulo, El Chulo is the neighbor's parrot that loves to make an appearance on my show every now and then. So excuse El Chulo. Anyway, so this is insinuating that the reason for polygamy would be to have a lot of sex, access to a lot of sex. And if monogamy provided a lot of sex, then polygamy would not be in question. That's what that sounds like. I'm going to sip, not Tips Tea Thursday, but wind it down. All right, y'all. That was that. How y'all feeling? Y'all, because I want to know. I want to know what it is and what it ain't. Should we go to the next one? Because he said, when you play around in the courtship, you get played in the relationship. I wrote that one down. Uh, I need a drum. That's going to be on my next one. Hey, how are you? Welcome, welcome. We are here on Wine and Wings Wednesday for you guys that just joined. I don't have either wings or wine tonight, but that does not mean that you should not, and that does not mean that I will not next Wednesday. It's just today I'm trying to get my voice back in here. But anyway, we are discussing some things because this, again, relationship dynamics, where did we go wrong? I don't know where we went wrong. I don't know. I could speculate, I can assume, I can ask, but I really don't, because there is discussion that this has been going on since the 70s, since the 50s, since this is, but it is that it is more exposed these days because of social media. It's more exposed in social media. All right, yeah. But that does not mean that it is okay. It doesn't have to be bad exposure. The disconnect for relationships is real, and your girl is here to bring it back on track. Let's recap what we've been talking about today, y'all. We definitely talked about king and queen energy. We talked about defining what king and queen really meant and stepping into it. My boy Chris said that it's speaking life into a man and woman because everybody don't see the royalty in them. King Jasar said in the YouTube earlier, go back on our YouTube and see the podcast earlier. He's saying that it's a movement. That's what king and queen is. It's a movement. But he wants to know why people expect to be called king and queen if they acting like peasants. That was that. Then we talked about polygamy. Do people really want it? People don't really want polygamy. Guys really do not want polygamy. And you only hear it when it's towards the man having multiple wives. Is it polygamy when a woman has multiple husbands? I'm gonna look that up, because one thing about your girl, she don't talk about nothing that she don't know about. I don't know much about that in the culture. Like I said, this polygamy thing has been something that has been coming up more and more these days. Whether it's an excuse for cheating, excuse to do what you want to do, I don't know. But if you're gonna, we take we take buzzwords way too far, y'all. Did you see where I said we take buzzwords way too far, y'all? It be over there. Over there. So we talked about that because on a podcast I watched yesterday, it said that the cure for polygamy is a lot of monogamous sex. Now, this last quote or this last topic, I'm going to touch on later. It said, when you play around in the courtship, you get played in the relationship. We're going to touch on that one. Do I want to touch on that one tomorrow on Tipsy Thursday? I might, if it goes, because I already have stuff to discuss for y'all tomorrow on Tipsy Thursday. So y'all make sure that y'all tune in 7:30 p.m. PST. I might bring that one back because that's a good one. But then we still gonna go on topic tomorrow. So check in with your girl, keep up with your girl. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Chris, and everybody else. Leticia, for watching. Roshan, I appreciate you. Thank you guys over here as well. I had everybody. Everybody in here. Thank you guys. See you guys. Look back YouTube. See you guys tomorrow on Tips Tea Thursday. Come get Tips Tea with your girl.